What is up, all my wonderful friends? What is up? I am here. You just can't see me because I'm still sitting at my computer. That's funny. I haven't touched this window. That's funny. Yes. We are here the 28th. Can you hear me? Sweet. All right. Ha! There I am. Welcome, welcome, welcome one, welcome all. Oh, I just realized I don't think I started up my, Oh, Sonia says you can't hear me. Hello. You can't hear me? Hey, Sonia. Oh, okay. Well, somebody can hear me, which means that all of you should be able to hear me. I'm going to troubleshoot it that way. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Just making sure everyone can hear. Josh says yes, so I'm assuming yes. Without capitalization because I... Okay, cool. Good. So, Sonia, I would say turn your microphone up, or turn your speakers up. How's it going, guys? Welcome. Welcome to tonight's Q&A session. I'm excited about tonight. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a really good time. So, let me get my nice Weatherman set up. Nice and going. Oh, wait, my server didn't start. Let's see. Air server. See, now you know my tricks. Now you know how I do it, which everybody's been asking. They all want to know. They all want to know, but we're not telling them, huh? Ha! There's my iPad. Okay, cool. All right, so welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. How's everybody doing? You guys doing all right? Is life well with you? I hope so, because life is well in the world. All is well in the world. Now that I have all my crap, you know, written out in front of me, let's jump into some questions. Why not? Speaker's on. It was a delayed answer. That's fair. Yeah, because I type and then, that's right. There's a long delay here. All right, so here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump straight into some questions. I want to get those things taken care of for you. Let's get answers out there. I've got all my questions that have been sent to me through CreativeCashFlow, questions at CreativeCashFlow.com. If you have any more questions outside of something that was sent to me up to like 3 minutes ago, send them on this chat first and foremost. But if you do send them on the email because you already have the email written up or whatever that might be, let me know on the chat and I will go back and check my email. Because that's going to be the quickest way for me to know that. I'm going to go ahead and use this thing that I've never used before and clean my glasses because I got crud all over them. All right, so I'm going to start with our first email question, which is, Doing Awesome was really hoping you were going to open up with Star Wars. Dang, I totally should have. Oh, dang, and I forgot to upload well, I guess I won't ruin the image. Somebody sent me a fun image that was here last week, and I'm going to be able to use that coming up to help you guys out. All right, I've said I'm going to start like 17 times. How about we start? Huh! So, Grant, I still don't understand owner financing, because I say things like that now. Still don't understand owner financing a property with a loan on it, okay? I understand how we make payments on the equity, but I don't understand how we make payments on the loan. How are we paying down the loan exactly? Are we doing sub 2 on it? Please draw us an example. See, we already have fans of the awesome Weatherman style. Please draw us an example of a property with a $50,000 loan and $50,000 of equity for simplicity's sake. The ARV is $100,000, of course. All right, so that means that we're buying full price this property, and let's jump into that. That'll be fun. All right, actually, here I'm going to move like this. Skirt, skirt, skirt. Alrighty, guys. So we got a deal. No, we got a deal here. Weatherman. That has, actually, no. Little Man. Nope, that's not Little Man. That's my eye camera. Little Man. Y'all want to just watch my shoes the whole time? All right, so we got a deal. And it has a $50,000 loan on it, okay? So we're going to draw that out. And here's how I'm going to illustrate this. Is we're going to say that we have a house that's worth $100,000. Okay? Now, in this example, we have debt on the property that takes up $50,000 of the loan. Matt, this is Matt Rostowski. I hope Matt is online. Oh, yeah, what's up, Matt? Like, literally, I know there's a huge delay, but, like, literally as soon as you said, is this my question, was when I was looking to see if you were here. So, glad to see you. Thomas, glad to see you here, man. And Andy, I'm glad you like the weather, man. Andy, by the way, I uploaded a phone call with your lead over on Falcon into Podio for you to take a listen to. So, check out that call. I'm going to talk again to your seller again on tomorrow morning or afternoon about that. Okay, so jumping back in, we've got a $50,000 lien on the property. And we are going to offer to pay this seller another $50,000. Okay, we're going to give this to them as a second lien. Now, the question here says, how are we paying down the loan? Are we making, I don't understand how we're making payments on the loan. How are we paying down the loan exactly? Are we doing a sub 2 on it? That answer is yes, of course. Please draw us an example of a property with a $50,000 loan and $50,000 of equity for simplicity's sake, and the ARV is $100,000. So I'm going to use some stupid numbers because I am not smart enough to get them like super close. I'm going to use some numbers that should work out for us. Okay, so what we're going to say, because what matters, when we're in the owner financing game, we've got two things to consider, right? We have, just like everybody else, we've got one big item, which is our comps. Okay, I'm going to call these our retail comps. But the other big item that we have to consider that only landlords are typically looking at, but we really need to look at, is going to be the rental comps. So our world, so over here we've got rent comps. This is our world. Our world is right here. Okay. We live smack dab in the middle of rental and retail comps because we need to know what the PITI payment should be for our buyer, as well as what our sales price to our buyer is going to be. Two very important parts for us, right? This is our life. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at some numbers on this deal. Now, this is my illustration that I'm going to come back to, but what we're going to start doing over here is I'm going to start taking some notes of our knowns. And for those of you who have watched our knowns and unknowns video, that's kind of the route I'm going to take right now. I want you guys to understand that in this deal analysis stage, the knowns and unknowns, as well as backing into the deal, are basically the same thing. Backing into the deal, the knowns and unknowns, that is something that we are aware of is going to give us basically the same results. But sometimes knowns and unknowns are going to be more logical for certain people, and sometimes the backing into the deal is going to be more logical to certain people. But in this case, I'm going to choose knowns and unknowns. So what we're going to do is we are going to go knowns and unknowns. We know the ARV of 100K. Okay, we don't know what the rent rate is, but we're going to decide what the rent rate is because we want this deal to work for us. Now, this is a really important part that I hope you guys take away from this, is that we need our rent rate for this market, for this strategy to really work to our best advantage. We want our rent rate to be 1% at least of the sales price. So in other words, if we have a $100,000 house, we want it to rent for $1,000 a month, okay? Now, in the sake of doing this and making it obvious to where I know it's gonna work out for us, I'm gonna say that we rent for $1,150, which is way too much. You're not gonna really find that unless you're in some other states. But again, I just wanna make sure that we've got room to make this work. So we're going to say that it rents for $1,150. Okay. Now, when we are looking at the rent rate of a property, and we're using it in the context of we want our, or in the context of we're going to be doing a wraparound mortgage on this, the reason that we're looking at it there is that we want our PITI payment from our borrower to add up to what it would rent for. Okay. So this, in other words, is going to be our buyer's PITI. Now, what we have to figure out, what we don't know, is what is the deal with this $50,000, okay? So this $50,000, we're going to say is at 4.5%, and it has 22 more years. Okay? So if we work that out, we're going to go over to our handy-dandy, trusty calculator, and we're going to say $50,000 at 4.5% for 22 more years is a payment, PI, on this loan, what was that, $298? $298. We're going to say $300, okay? $300 a month. So, what you're really asking is, well, I'm going to kind of blow through some things here, because what you're really asking is backing into a deal and finding out, like with your example, we have to find out how much we can pay our $50,000 equity to them. I'm going to say that we can pay the full $100,000 ARV. But again, what you're really asking for is the sub 2 part, so I'm not focused so hard on that other $50,000. Check it out. I'm not so focused on this $50,000 right here. We're going to focus on this $50,000 right here. So let me kind of move out of the way here so you've got a bigger view. And so now what we need to do is we know that we have a rent rate of $11.50 a month, and we need to back out of that $11.50 the debt that we know that we have. So we're going to back out $300 of that, and that's going to be our PI on the underlying lien. Past that, we need to back out also the taxes and insurance, which I'm going to say is $350. TI, okay? So now we have $650 coming out of this $11.50 rent. $11.50 minus $650 equals $500. What we have arrived at here is our play money, like I like to call it, play. This is how we make our play. So that $500 is going to be how we end up paying this money right here. Is that $500 a month? Now, again, for the sake of answering what I think you are really trying to ask, which is specifically on the sub 2, I have decided I'm actually not going to go. I'm not going to go into this side. Okay, we're just going to assume, hey, we got $500 to pay that $50,000. We can do that. No big deal. What we're going to talk about is how this subject to side of things works from a technical standpoint. This loan right here is what you're really concerned with, right? So let's look at a typical, like, how does a typical loan work at the bank? Well, at the bank, you're going to have, like, if you've got bank financing on a deal, you've got a loan that gets paid every month. And how do I want to write this down? I usually kind of transition it. What I'm going to do it like this. You've got a loan to the bank. Okay. They loan money to Joe homeowner and his family. In that loan, now you're in, Matt, you're in another state. What state are you in? Dang it, I can't remember. You're in another state. You either have a mortgage or a deed of trust, or a trust deed if you're in California. I don't really remember. But basically, there's going to be some form of this. You're going to have a note, and then you're going to have a different document that's probably called a deed of trust, but it might be called a mortgage, might be called a trust deed, something like that. This is where the lending is, okay? This right here, that's where the lending is occurring. So what we're doing in subject 2 is we're saying, look, guys, oh, that's weird. Why is it not showing up on the screen? There it is, okay. What we're saying is, look, guys, we're going to buy your house, okay? Because they own a house over here. We're just going to assume that that's there. We're going to buy your house. This is you. You're going to come in, investor, with your cape. Smiles because you're a nice person. Got a nice little wink going. You're going to say, look, guys, I will buy your house from you. And you're going to give me a warranty deed, which gives me ownership of that property. But we are going to leave this note and deed of trust, or this note and mortgage, we're going to leave that in place as is and not remove your name from it. I am just going to make payments on your behalf every month to your bank. So this note says that you owe $300 a month. Therefore, I'm going to pay $300 a month. Now, when they give you that warranty deed, you are also going to give them in return a deed of trust or a mortgage or a whatever your state calls it. So now in this section of the transaction, this deed of trust, it says that if you don't pay, these guys totally have the right to foreclose on you and take that property back. That's what this is doing, right? So you're promising to pay, you're promising to pay $300 a month to the bank for them. But if you don't, these guys right here can take the house back from you through that deed of trust. Now, from a technical standpoint, you're just sending a check. I got to get used to this mirror image. You're just sending a check to the bank, and the bank doesn't care whose name is on that check. They just care that they're getting paid $300 a month. Dang it. Someday I'll get this. It's a work in progress, guys. They just care that they're making their money, right? That's what they want at the end of the day, is their money. So you're going to continue to pay that. And if you don't pay that, this bank can foreclose on those guys, take the house back, all your stuff is void, null and void. But that's sub 2, right? I don't know how else to explain it other than what's in the academy, and I hope that that makes it a little bit more obvious for you. But I would really encourage you, if you have that question, maybe go back through and watch the academy, because I'm curious if you have getting that. So really, you know, pay attention to those things, see what's going on, and if you still have questions, let me know, and if that didn't clarify something, let me know, and if that did clarify something, please let me know. All right, so let's keep going. Let's look at some of our chats here. Andy, I'm glad you like the weatherman. Carol says, can you please recommend a CPA for the coming tax season? You know, I wish I had a good one for you to, so like I had to fire my CPA because I couldn't get responses from them. I'm trying a new CPA this year, and I'm not ready until I see what they do to really hand them out. But I would recommend, like, go out and ask some in the Facebook groups, ask them about that there, because once I find that this guy, I really like this guy from a, well, and I'll tell you who it is. I'm using Jim Albert at Albert Auerbach and Gold. Over here off of 630. He's in the same building, for those of you who are local to Dallas. He's in the same building as Galen over there, Lonergan Law Firm. But I'm using him. I really like the guy. Super responsive, super knowledgeable. We'll see how it goes with the actual taxes, and then I'll throw that out. Matt, that was right. That you're in Kentucky. What's up, Jaime? Glad to have you in here, man. All right. So again, if you've got more questions, please chime in. I'm going to keep going through our emailed stuff. Hello, Grant. This might not be actually a question. Hold on. Let me see. Well, I'm going to read it. And this can be a lesson to us all that I don't read these things until Monday night. So if this isn't actually a Q&A question, then it's not a Q&A question. Upon purchasing Seller Financing Essential course and implementing it, will you and/or anyone working with you answer my questions via email, phone to help with the transaction? What kind of support other than the weekly phone calls do you provide? That's the thing, right? So like, I've got a couple of personal mentors that are in here right now, and that's where you get that support, right? I think to, gosh, maybe that's probably not the right way to say it. Well, no, heck, I'm going to say it. $650 is not enough for us to dedicate our time that is super busy actually doing the deals to answer all the huge volume of questions for deal analysis and that kind of stuff. That's why we set up our Monday night call. So, I mean, again, you just kind of think about it. I mean, think about the volume of business that we're doing, both on the education and the real estate side. And y'all are getting a steal of a deal for the education that you're receiving here at $650, which is about to go up, but everybody watching right now has paid $650. If you are watching on a replay and you paid much more than that, I'm sorry, you should have gotten in earlier. But just kind of consider that we are a functioning business and we are doing this. You know, again, this is what we have set up to give you that support. Now, this is the kind of cool thing that gives me a really great segue for that announcement that I was going to give you. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease that so that you guys keep watching. But I've got something cool for you guys that I think is actually going to help in that realm and give you guys a lot more experience and give you guys an opportunity to work with my operation on a much larger level. It's not going to be for everybody. It's going to be for a very select few. But we will talk about that tonight. Remind me in the chat. There's my tease for you. I'm trying to get better about my teases, so hopefully that's a good tease for you. But yeah, I do want to help you guys. I really, really do. But I have to understand that but you have to understand the volume of questions that I get through Facebook Messenger, through email, through this, through that, and the other. I just can't. I would have to give up my whole life to answering those, and so that's why I'm here now. Every Monday night, I ignore my family and I add more time to my week so that I can answer those questions for you. And again, teasing for the future, we will have a really cool opportunity for you guys to work with us heavier. I'm trying to form my team of knowledgeable attorneys, an RMLO, and a title company who will do creative financing. I can't believe there are so many incompetent people out there who don't use and understand these techniques in their practice. It's absolutely true. The local investment club is of no help. They don't share their contacts. Go figure. Well, that's weird. They said go figure. It's very disgusting, really. Yeah, that is odd. I live in California. I'm not surprised. How do you advise me about to go about finding them? So there's a guy that I've worked with. Brady, are you watching? I hope Brady's watching, and I can't remember because I'm forgetting that guy's name. But Brady, I hope you're watching. If so, what was that dude that you connected me with that has the national connections there? I do have a connection for you. I do have somebody that's going to help you get the team that you need around you. It's a really nice guy. Who doesn't cost anything for you, so you're going to be able to get these professionals. And I think I talked to you in chat, perhaps. We are doing a very large push nationally with some other cool announcements that we're not ready to come out and announce yet, but we've got some really cool stuff, wink, wink, Thomas, coming ahead of us that you guys are going to love. And we'll be pushing national and really, really building out that national network for you guys. So, you know, Zaya, thank you so much for participating here. We are right around the corner from being able to help you out with that. And I know Matt's going to be happy about that. I know Josh is going to be happy about that. We are. I know I've been teasing this, but guys, guess what? Stuff takes time. And that's, I'm going to take a soapbox moment. Stuff takes time. If you're getting into this business, you gotta understand that whenever you're adding a new feature to your business, or if you're expanding or doing something, this isn't something that happens overnight. If you put real work into it, this is a, you know, it's basically like when I put this national push thing, it's an 18-month plan, easy going. I mean, probably closer to 2 years, maybe even 3 to get into all 50. It's gonna take time to do that, right? Anything that you're planning to add to your stuff, the number one reason people drop out of this business is false expectations. Unrealistic expectations is what kills the real estate investor, okay? So you gotta know what you're getting into. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Zaya, I love having you here. Please, 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 anybody watching, I'm not trying to be rude when I'm like, I just can't dedicate that time. I just hope that y'all understand that I do have a family, and I am trying to pay attention to them while running these two businesses, and it is difficult. It's very hard. I don't want to be shy about that. It is really hard. I'm in our weekly meeting this morning. I sat down with my implementer and my integrator, and I showed her, because we've started tracking I started tracking my time using a timesheet kind of thing, like actually tracking my time so I can see where all of my time is going for certain projects and that kind of stuff. And man, I'm working like 65 to 80 hours a week already, right? So please, I don't want to come off rude, and I hope that I didn't there. I'm just trying to be realistic about what's going on. But that we do have solutions coming, and that we are building out community features for you guys to help answer each other's questions and that kind of stuff too. That will play into that. Let's go back over to the chats real quick. Jaime says, sup? Josh says, top 5 situations you must stay away from when acquiring houses subject to. Examples, types of houses, loans with certain banks, situations, etc. That's a really good question. I love that, man. Oh, and Matt, okay, cool. I'm glad that you clarified that for me. You say you watch the Academy videos, understand how Subject 2 works, just didn't really understand mixing Subject 2 with the owner finance. That's, okay, I'll go back now. I will, so you're probably very disappointed when I'm like, I'm not going to focus on this part. You're like, dude, that's the part I need to know. I'll go back. I'll talk about that. So Josh, that's a really good question. That's a unique one. So top 5 situations you need to stay away from when acquiring houses sub 2, like types of houses, loans with certain banks, situations. So my thing is that I look at it like this. If what I want is I want single family, I don't want duplexes, I don't want anything of that, right? So this is what my criteria is. I want a single family home that is basically, what would it be, 1/4. Our bread and butter is the home that is 1/4 to 1/2 of the median. I cap at the median. Okay. I do want a minimum of 3 beds. Okay. I don't care how many bathrooms I have. I don't really care how old it is. I don't really care how many square feet it has. Those are the things that I'm really looking for in my deal, right? The price point takes care of a lot of the other stuff that you've got to worry about. Now, things to avoid. This may not be an issue for you, but Colonial Savings and Bank has been one of the bigger people that has called due on sale clauses, so I'm more concerned when I get to them. Other than that, I'm not super worried about much when it comes to Subject 2. It's a really good question. But I think that the good answer to that good question is that it's not really it's not really much to worry about on that side. You know, we have to understand that if we're buying a VA loan subject to that, our VA lender, or our buyer, our seller is probably not going to be able to go off and get another VA loan. We got to be cautious of that and let him understand that that's what's going on, him or her. That's about all. Matt, let's get back into that side. I'm so sorry that I didn't understand what your question was. So let's get back into that. But let me go through, because it looks like we've got a couple of different questions here. I just want to hammer through a couple of these things. So Thomas asks, what would you do to owner finance a deal with 50% LTV on a $2 million house? And so Thomas, if you can clarify this, because Jaime says, dang, Thomas, is the seller allowing you to keep the 50% of equity? Thomas says he's putting $1 million down payment. So he's being he's being the buyer in this situation. So that you have had a buyer that has approached you and said, I'll put $1 million down on this $2 million house if you'll finance me the $1 million. And so it's a good loan to value. There's not really too much. I mean, would you do an owner finance deal with 50%? Well, the question is, would you do? And my answer is probably not. Because here's part of what I consider good business. The best and most successful people that I know of are the ones that say no the easiest, okay? We have to understand what our focus is. I am great at doing houses from $70,000 to $250,000. Our operation is built around that. I've done a couple of deals, a few deals that are more than that, and that's not our bread and butter. That's not what we are great at. That's not our native genius. So we stay in that. So unfortunately, when we look at a deal like that, and here's the other side of that, and I've mentioned this in previous Q&A sessions too, just to be clear in that, I know that by putting that kind of limitation on there, I'm going to be passing up on stuff that could make me money. I know that. It's true, right? I always use the example of self-storage. I want to get into self-storage. That is not the most important thing to my business's success right now. So it's on our issues list, and we'll get to it some quarter down in the future. We would make money in self-storage, but that is not focused, okay? When you get into this business and you treat this business like a business, you create an annual goal for your company, you stick to that annual goal for your company, and you don't stray from it. Because what happens is, otherwise you get distracted and you start going after all these shiny things, and oftentimes what will happen is you spend 6 months trying to figure out how this cool thing that could make you so much money works, only to figure out that it's just as hard as the strategy that you already knew. And so then you got to spend the next 3 months deciding, well, crap, do I go forward with this new strategy that I've just learned and this new niche that I'm in, or do I go back to the other one that I already knew well? Now, the situation that you're in is an interesting one, because you've got somebody willing to put 50% down, $1 million down on a $1 million loan. My question would be, what's your cost of capital on that million? Are you going to be able to make any money? What people don't understand is that just because somebody puts a large down payment on a deal, it does not mean that that makes that a great deal for you. It means that that is more secure, that they're not going to be foreclosed on as easily. But if your cost of capital is 6 on that million, that guy putting $1 million down isn't going to pay more than 8. He's probably not going to pay more than 7% interest, right? So if your cost of capital is 6 or more, then yeah, it looks great because he put a 50% down payment on, which means that he's less likely to get foreclosed on. But A, your cost of capital arbitrage is not really making you that much money. And B, what happens when he does miss payments? Okay, if you're paying 6% on a 20-year amort or a 15-year amort on $1 million, one missed payment, let's look at that. What is that? If we do one missed payment of $1 million, $1 million at 6% for 20 years, you're out $7,000. Woo! Let's say that you financed it to 8. You're only making $2,000. Only. Okay. You're risking having to come out of pocket, and that's if you did it on a 20-year, right? If you do it on a 30-year, you're not making anything. 30 years at 8 is $7,300. 20 years at 6 is $7,100. You willing to make $200 on a $7,000 bet? Not my deal, right? So, okay, so there you go. Hey, am I good or am I good, huh? It's almost like I know this business, guys. Thomas says 6% cost of capital. Okay, so we're good. 9.9%. Now, what are your amortizations? Is it a 20 over a 30 or a 15, right? Is your 6% cost of capital an ARM? which most likely if you're getting commercial capital, it is. You're getting a 15 or a 20-year AM with a 5-year call, an adjustment that happens in 5 years, which could go up, which means that you have to hold that 9.9 either adjustable as well or start making less money. So on its surface, it looks great, but it's really, in my opinion, not. And the biggest part of that is the risk of missed payments, the risk of holding cost. Andy, thank you for pointing that out. So yeah, so is it 30-year fixed on the cost of capital? So it's like, you know, 360 at 6 would be their payment is $6,000. And if you're doing it at 9.9, which that's actually really great. It's very surprising that he would do that. So I mean, now you're looking at making $2,700. $2,700. Let's look at some other possibilities there, because the question then becomes, what is your dang it, I read your thing and I completely forgot. Oh, what is your opportunity cost? If you had 6% cost of capital on a bunch of deals that you could buy at, you know, let's say even 80% LTV, let's not say 80, let's say 75% LTV. If you've got a loan at $75,000, well, that means, so how many times does $75,000 go into $1 million? I should be able to tell you that off the top of my head, but I can't. $75,000. You could do 13 deals. Okay, so let's kind of look at it this way. You could do 13 deals, a little bit over, $100,000 deals, $70,000. If you had a $75,000 loan, and my other question too, Joseph, is how much are you buying that house for? Are you buying it for $2 million, or are you buying it for less and part of that $2 million is your profit? So $75,000 at 6% for 30 years is $449. That would mean if you had this as a $100,000 house, you've got a $90,000 loan at 9.9, which is $783. So you're making $350 a month, 350 times 13. You're making $4,500 there. Okay. What did we say that we were going to be making on the other one? I don't think it was 45. I don't think it was 45. I think it was 27, right? Wasn't it? $1 million. Hold on, I'm going to write this down so I don't forget it. 4,500 with 13 $100,000 houses. If we have $1 million, loan at 6 for 30 years, that's 59. So $6,000 at 9.9. Gosh darn it, 9.9. 87. So it's $2,700. So here's the thing. You, by doing this one deal, are looking at $2,700 a month on cash flow, versus if you used that same capital and bought 13 $100,000 houses, you'd actually be making $4,500 a month on that. And if one of them went vacant, you are only out $500 a month, right? Versus this one property going vacant and you're out $6,000 a month until you find somebody else. So what happens, they put their money down, the market shifts in a year, they get foreclosed on, and nobody's buying $2 million houses anymore. You're stuck. You're stuck with a $6,000 payment. I always say I would much rather have five $100,000 houses versus one $500,000 house. This is a big reason why. So that's kind of my answer. Now the thing with 1.8 million in new construction, you're making another $200,000 right up front. Okay, that's significant. But how much of that is going towards fees and stuff like that too. So you're a spreadsheet guy, you're really smart about all of that kind of stuff, but I encourage you to really analyze that and see what's more valuable to you. Is it $4,500 a month? And I'll move in. Hey, that's not a bad idea either. You got somebody to pay it off for you. Good. Okay, so yeah, thank you. That's a good discussion. Both of those were really good discussions. So let's do 30-year fix. So Jaime says, one tip Grant gives is to try and get homes in hot areas. Some dudes are taking home sub 2 in my area, and they still end up at auction because they're in towns nobody's buying. Yeah. Kelly, can you tell me the highest priority info you want to obtain from a new lead on the first interaction so I can make an offer on the spot? Obviously, you want to check off all the boxes, so no mistakes. Yeah, perfect. So we'll do this, and then Matt, I'm going to get back to your question about the how to structure fit both of those in there. Again, I'm really sorry for misunderstanding your question. So Kelly, the things that we need to know is, A, don't be afraid to ask somebody how much they owe on their house. We got to know how much they owe on their house. We got to know what their interest rate is on their house. We got to know what basically, here's the thing. download the deal analysis whetstone, and I'll show you what that is right here. By the way, proposed bill here. Be very, very aware. We've got a bill that's coming down that we need support on. If you guys have not joined the Texas 100 yet, please, please, please join. We need 35 more members to join so that we have enough money to fund the lobbyists that will keep them from killing our wraparound. Like this subchapter D, they want us to hold all their money in a trust. This section right here says we can't do a owner-financed wrap on a deal that has a due on sale clause. So we got to be very careful about what these things are. Anyway, let's get into the deal analysis whetstone. If you want to know the things that you need to know to make a decision, Carol, I already answered your question about the CPA. I'm sorry, if you weren't there, or did I scroll up? Did I scroll up? Yeah. No, Carol, I already answered that earlier. So I would rewind it at the end. But the end of the story is I'm using Jim Albert over at Albert Auerbach and Gold, but I'm not ready to super recommend him yet because this is my first year actually doing my taxes with him. But this right here is what you need to know to make a decision, Kelly. This information is what you need to make a decision, okay? So you need their underlying remaining principal, interest, remaining term, payment, arrears, what are the repairs needed, and then this stuff is like what's your cash contract price, what's your offer. But that information right there is pivotal to the decision. And then you go through and use this analysis. So check out the deal analysis whetstone video to learn more about that. And that is for download for you in the download section. Alrighty. So let's go back over here so I can actually answer Matt's question that he asked and I so rudely didn't answer because I thought I was answering it. So here we go. Let's get back. Let's reset our situation here. In this situation, we have, dang it, I thought I was going to get it right. We have a $50,000 loan at 4.5% for 22 years, which means that we're paying PI $300 a month, okay? We are looking at a rental rate on this deal of $1,150. We're going to back out the PI of our underlying mortgage. We're going to back out the taxes and insurance of our underlying mortgage, and that leaves us with $500 of play money, okay? Play money. Now that is what I'm using. Oh dang, that's really disappointing. Sally, I'll get to that in a second. So that money is the money that we have to pay off, dang it, this $50,000 loan. Y'all are gonna get real tired of me getting this wrong. This is, I'm gonna like start coloring these. Oh, I can tell which hand my pen is in and use the opposite one. Okay, cool. This $50,000 note that we have right here needs to get paid off. And the reason why I chose $1,150 is that was going to very clearly give us enough money to play with, which in this case is $500 a month, okay? So that $500 a month is what we're going to use to pay this equity to our seller. So now we know some things. We know we're going to make $1,150 a month. We know that the PI for that underlying mortgage is $300, that the taxes and insurance add up to $350, and that leaves over $500 of play money. From that, we have to back out, what do you want to make in cash flow on this deal? So my minimum cash flow on any deal is $150 in cash flow. That's what my minimum is. Yours may be much smaller, especially if you're getting started and you just want to get some deals under your belt. I'll tell you, I took down some deals whenever I started this business that I would never touch now, that I was only making 40, 50 bucks a month on. But I made the deal happen and I got the experience. So at this point in time, we back out our possible cash flow, and what we're left with, this is really our play net. I'm whatever, marking through this. So that $350 is what we have to pay them, okay? This is why payments are so important in our business. So now what we need to go back with is we need to say, well, once we backed out the number that we wanted to make, we found out that we really only have $350 a month to pay them. So now we kind of look at our knowns and unknowns situation again, and what we're faced with is we put this into our calculator and we say, I know I have $350 a month to play with. I know I need to spend $50,000, or I need to pay off their $50,000 worth of equity with that 350 bucks. What I don't know is how long that's going to take and how much interest I can offer them. Now, the thing is that we kind of have a, I start off at 4.5%. And you know, you guys who were watching here last week, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. You guys were watching last week know that we actually really do have the videos in hand for our negotiation series, and I talk about the hairy arm principle in that. Expect to see that out within this next week or two. My tech guy, I built all of the, if you didn't know, I built our whole website, the Creative Cash Flow stuff. I built that from scratch and put the, you know, how you can track each module and all that kind of stuff. Like, I did that. But now I've got a tech team, and I'm having to show them how that works. The first time that we're putting a new module out, it's going to take us a little bit more time because they got to get used to the process, but that'll be much quicker as modules come out in the future. And this morning I actually finished up a really good outline for some great content that you guys are going to be seeing exclusive to this site. But when the negotiations module hits, start looking at the hairy arm, because that's going to tell you why I start at 4.5%. But I'm just going to go ahead and put that in here for us. So what we're doing is we're putting 4.5% into the interest per year. So that's a known. Now it's a kind of a situational known. And then we are saying we have a $50,000 principal value, a $350 a month payment. FV is always 0. We know FV is always 0. So now all we need to do is we need to solve for N. Okay? So we're just going to solve for N, and that means that we could pay off our seller in 204 months at 4.5% interest, paying them $50,000 of their equity at $350 a month. We've bought their house at full retail price, and we're still making $150 a month off of that. To pitch that to our seller even better, we look at this. Look at this, guys. They are getting 205 payments of $350 a month, which means that their total payment is actually $71,750. $71,750. So they're making $22,000 in interest alone, and that's part of the pitch to that. Does that make sense to you on how we got there, on backing into that deal, on figuring out, look, we know what we can make on a payment. The payment is what dictates what we can do for their equity. We got to look at what's coming in and then look at what's going out. Well, what's coming in is the rent rate. What's going out is our underlying payment, our underlying taxes and insurance, and then our cash flow. And what's left over is the money that we have to pay on a monthly basis to our seller. So we plug that into our calculator. We plug in how much equity they have. We start off with an interest rate of like 4.5%, and then we work down from there. I've got several deals at 0% interest because of the hairy arm principle. We solve for N. That tells us how long we need it for. I'll give you a tip. If they're like, I don't want to do this for 17 years, most sellers you can get on board to do for a 10-year. 10 years is about the cap that I've seen most sellers be willing to do. So what you can do is you can go and say, all right, well, look, if you need it paid off, so what you're going to say first and foremost is, so what you're telling me is that the most important thing to this for you is getting paid off as quickly as possible. They're going to say yes, because that's the easy answer. And you're going to say, okay, well, what we're doing now is we're getting closer and closer to my today money, and my today money doesn't come with interest. So you got to understand that, and you put in 0 here. You resolve for that. Now you're at 142 payments, which is a little bit over 10 years. It's a 12 years of payments. If they say yes, cool. If they don't say yes, then you've got to work on, okay, well, can I give them some money up front to knock this? You know, if you were selling this for $100,000 and you're getting a 10% down payment, maybe you give them that $10,000 that you got as your down payment. Now their loan is $40,000. Now you're at 114 payments, which is under 20 or 10 years, which they would accept. Does that answer for you? Does that help you out? I hope. All right, so let's and you know, please I like the questions. I understand as I'm sitting here talking that I've probably been kind of a douche when I was like, I don't have time to answer all these questions. I'm not going to answer this part of the question because I don't think that's what you're asking. I'm sorry. If that's how I came off, I'm truly sorry. I really do want to help you guys out with this. So please don't be afraid of asking a question. Yeah, Wade, you're right. I always ask for the most recent bank statement from our seller. Always. Sally says, I refied a property with TFMB and sold with owner financing, but on the next house, they said they're not doing these loans anymore. What other banks are willing to do these loans? That really sucks because I actually was just talking to RJ Bates earlier today. I was on his podcast, and let's see which. I'm going to do like this. I'm going to get y'all another contact. Where's my Infusionsoft? And gotta get logged in here. I'm gonna get you another contact, actually at TFNB, but doesn't hurt to just try a different loan officer that we know has done it since your guy is gone. This is not the RJ. I look through that? Does that tell me? I hope it searches my... Dang it. Advanced search. Can I search my notes? Tag. Lender. Let's search our lenders. And his name is... Getting there, getting there, getting there, getting there, getting there, getting there. Ah, crap. Where's the freaking guy? I'll get you a guy. I'll get you a guy. Actually, I know where I can get this. Real quick. I promise I'm not going to waste your time. I've got this here. I've got this! RJ... So... Here, let's do this. The Logan Vic. I'm going to copy this. Copy. And let's go over here and paste this to the chat. And let's see if that works. Okay. So try Logan, see if there's any difference. Now, other than that, Texas Republic Bank, Kelly McBrayer, I think it's McBrayer though. She'll do them. Now, she won't remove the due on sale clause, which is unfortunate, but they're totally aware of what's going on, and they'll move forward with you on that too. Just tell her I sent you, because they won't do it with everybody. They will only do it with people who like have some experience. So hopefully that will help you out there. That's unfortunate to hear that they didn't want to do that though. Okay, so Wade's question: are you allotting for vacancy in the rental? We don't need to allot for vacancy. I'm only using the rent rate to define what the PITI payment for our buyer will be. Okay, that rent rate is all I care about. We're selling a mortgage to somebody, so there's no vacancies and stuff. And Gateway Mortgage in 2018 with an owner finance loan. That's awesome. Andrew Postel. That's great. Good to know. Thank you, Carol. Matt says, thanks so much for the answer to the sub 2 and owner finance question. And 2 separate contracts are signed, right? One for owner finance and one for sub 2. Absolutely not. That's another good question. It's one contract. It just says, I'm buying your house for $100,000 and I'm going to sub 2 50 of it, and I'm going to give you a second lien for 50 of it. Same contract. But again, in this whole national push, again, I am working for national contracts. Matt Aycock is on board, and we are getting that going for you guys. So I'll have some contracts to help you out, but I just don't have them here yet. Ryan, if a realtor brings us a buyer, do we pay the standard 3%? If so, is that something we pay, or do we include it as part of the buyer's closing costs? You can do either. That's the beauty of this business. Everything is up for negotiation. Everything is up for negotiation. But yes, you pay 3%, or very commonly 4.5%, or even maybe the full 6%. Depends on if you're trying to list on MLS or not. I try not to list on MLS so that I can get away with only paying the 3%. But even if you do list on MLS, like if you're here in Texas, DFW area specifically, I'll get you hooked up with Mary Lou. Actually, here, let me put her email for you guys. She's a phenomenal realtor. Why is this not? Man, I wonder if my I think my radio frequency may be messing with my keyboard, because it's like being weird. So yeah, now sell the house. You include the $150 profit with the $350 play for $500 per month as buyer's principal payment to sell the house at $100K. No, that's not right. So what we're looking at, how can I better explain this? Okay, let's look at money in versus money out. Money in, $1,150. That number is the PITI payment for your buyer. Okay? So if and Thomas, if you want to explain what a net listing is, I think I know what you're saying, but I don't call it that. So if you would explain that to us while I'm writing this, that'd be good. The buyer's paying $1,150. That's their payment, PITI. Well, PITI includes principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So we back out from there, taxes and insurance, which we said was $350. And what we're left with is, what is that, 11, 10, 9, 8, 850? 850, oops, let me do this better for you. Oh, you can't see anything I'm doing. Skirt. 1150 is the PITI. We back out the 350, and what we're left with is the true PI payment, right? Which in this case would be $800. Okay? So in other words, PI plus TI equals PITI, right? So this is your buyer's PI, $800 a month. The reason we're making $500 a month is that your underlying liens payment was $300 a month. So if you're getting in 800 and then you have to back out your 300 for the underlying liens PI, you arrive at $500 to be used both in the payment of the equity of your seller and in your cash flow. I hope that answers it for you. Empowering home deals. You need to be patient. We will get back to the email questions. I'm getting everybody's questions. Just for that, I'm going to keep reading chat questions. We got to be patient. We got to understand everybody's got questions. This is an equal opportunity for us all. Okay, so we will get back to this. Wade says, how to best implement a lease back to August on a subject to. Just, I don't know how to answer that more than just do a lease back. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I don't see the question. I don't see where that's complicated. You buy the house and you lease it back to them. You buy it sub two, lease it back to them. So the Sally, when you have a lead on subject to that doesn't fit your criteria, what are you doing with that lead? If it doesn't fit my criteria, it truly is probably trash, and I can refer, or it's a retail sale that we can refer out, because otherwise we have a way to take everything down. Sonia, are you still going to answer the email questions? Yes, be patient, my friends. We will get to the questions. You see them coming in. I am addressing. I addressed 3 or 4 questions from the emails. We're getting some chat questions here. We will get you guys answered for sure. Okay, so Thomas says a listing based on the net price where the seller will receive the property. The net price the seller will receive if the property is sold. Under a net listing, the broker can offer the property for sale at the highest price obtainable to increase their commission. Right, okay, cool. And Wade, yes, the same well, so for a leaseback, so I guess maybe if you're unfamiliar with leasebacks in general, maybe that's where this is coming from. So in a leaseback, you have a separate agreement with your with your seller that says, I'm going to let you stay here as a temporary lease. Now, Wade, I think you're in Texas, and Trek has a temporary leaseback form, the promulgated form that you will use to do that. And it's real simple. It's like a 2 or 3 page thing that just says, yeah, they get to stay in the property until this day. And so I'm just giving you crud. I'm giving both of y'all crud. We're just understanding. Okay, so so you just fill out that lease back with them. It says, hey, this is how much you're going to pay a month, and if you stay in the house past this time, then you're going to pay like $100 a day, which is a huge penalty, right? So that's kind of the difference between that it's a seller's temporary lease is what you're looking for by Trek. And I'll get this one more question from Geraldo because he says urgent in all caps, and then we will get back to, and because he joined the Texas 100, and I will prioritize you for that. Thank you, Geraldo. I'm glad that you're supporting. And then we'll get back to the email questions. So urgent question. I just got back from a pre-foreclosure house. Deed of trust does not have a clause allowing them to reinstate. Is there a law that the lender must allow them to cure, or are they out of luck? Yeah, deed of trust doesn't say anything about them reinstating, at least to my knowledge. It's just lender law. Like if they try to reinstate, they have to. It's a 2% interest loan, caught up on payments, but only owe attorney's costs. Yeah, man, take it subdue. Pay the attorney's fees to get that thing caught up. You'll be fine. Yeah, that's not you don't have to have something in the deed of trust that specifies that they can be caught up. So you should be fine. Get that, man. Okay, so this one comes from Felipe, one of my mentor students down in Houston. I'm brainstorming various ways of acquiring a multifamily property, 4 units, where the seller is asking way more than what the ARV of the property should be. However, the property is paid for, and I could potentially offer what the seller is asking for it if the seller is willing to work on terms. Absolutely, that's the big part about buying on terms. It's so great. My question is, if there is a restriction on interest rate I can pay to the seller. There is not. Well, think usury is $16.99, and I think usury counts even with commercial loans. I believe you have mentioned that there's usury laws in Texas. There you go. But I think there might be some exceptions for investments. There you go. Some of the scenarios I'm considering entail paying seller upwards of 18 to 22% interest rate per year. Could the transaction be considered illegal if I were to agree to such high interest rates, even if the terms still work for me? I will defer to an attorney unless somebody knows for sure the answer on that, because I know usury is $16.99. I think usury is only for commercial. I think you can pay, I'm sorry, for consumer. I think in a commercial loan you can pay whatever you want. But you're hitting on some really good points. Hey man, I'll pay way more than the house is worth if you'll finance it for 75 years, right? And we can just cash flow that puppy for a while and make sure that our spread is there if we're going to be repaying, or, you know, especially if it's a multifamily property. You know, multifamilies, they work more based off of cap rates anyway. So to answer your question, I don't think that's a big deal there. And then, oh, okay, and actually, I only have one more question from the emails, and it came from Sonia. So who was that a second ago that asked? Empowering home deals. I don't know who you are name-wise. Let's see if we got... okay, so Rob hit me with another question. Hey, Rob, if you are coming in late on these, just understand I actually copy all of these questions out, and so then I'm only looking at a big blown up version and the chat. So just send it in the chat if you're coming in later in the future. But empowering homes, actually I have already answered everything except for Sonia's last question. So if that's something that you already sent, then either, oh, empowering homes, gotcha. Felipe, see, I had to get on to you. I'm sorry. I love you. On a deal, should you use your own? This is from Sonia. And I feel bad, like the two people who were like, "Can you please get back to that?" Those were the only two left I had. But we're all here together. On a deal, should you use your own money if you have it, or just raise funds? Well, there's. Oh, and actually, I've got one from Brady too. It's all right, Felipe, man. I love you. I'm just messing with you. It depends. What's your cost of capital? Or what's your cost, what's the word I'm looking for? Opportunity cost. What's your opportunity cost of using that capital versus, golly, what is going on with my, there's gotta be some kind of radio frequency issue with my keyboard. Depends on what else you could do with that deal, right? Depends on what else you could make money on that money. So if you have the ability to make more than that return on your cash, then do it. I would suggest leveraging that cash as more of like down payments to bigger loans so that you can get more money. But I don't like spending my own money necessarily on real estate unless it's like in an IRA or something where you're getting it tax-free. I would prefer to spend that money on being, you know, leveraged out on getting larger abilities there. So Sonia says, I had a message about question, what happens when the seller dies? What books do you recommend about creative financing and owner financing? I don't have any books. Unfortunately, this is a very niche thing that we're dealing with here. And when the seller dies, I have like 3 houses where the seller's dead on it. I have one house where the seller died like 2 hours after we closed. That happens. And typically, there's nothing to worry about. The banks aren't like notified of that unless somebody actively notifies them of that. But then it would go into the estate. And frankly, I've just not had to deal with that being an issue before. I've got dead people's houses, loans. The estate also typically doesn't care that it's there because it's not like they were making money on it anyway, so it doesn't really affect them. Okay, Brady says, tonight, is it possible to talk about how you, and just again to tease, I've got to, after I get to this, I'll start talking about something that Zaya reminded me of earlier. Tonight, is it possible to talk about how to use other people's money to take down a deal sub 2? For example, if you need $30,000 to close a sub 2 and $20,000 for rehab, but it can cash flow $500 per month with $100 in back-end equity. It's taking more capital to take down sub 2, and people are passing on those leads up because they don't know how to do it. Yeah, so did I kill him? I want your house. The power of attorney does go null, but again, we're kind of playing, and we're kind of playing in an area of grayness there where it's like we've already taken it down and the bank already has our POA on file. you know, if nobody notifies them, they're not going to change anything up. And if they do get notified and they do want to change things up, you're going to have to refinance out of that loan with like a collateral assignment or something along those lines. So let's talk a little bit about Brady's question here. And let me get this thing. I wish my keyboard wasn't being stupid. That would be really nice of it. It's like being crazy. Okay. Okay, so actually, you know what? This is going to be a really easy answer. Here's the answer. We just did that. This is the same situation here. This is exactly what we're asking. Is we're saying, look, I've got a deal that is, they only owe 50. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't answer the nationwide note servicer because Jaime actually chimed in with one. There's also Evergreen note servicing out of like Washington, and a couple other ones that Eddie has mentioned, and I don't remember what those are. But yeah, Jaime mentioned one earlier today in the chats. I can't remember what it was called. So this is that situation. They owe 50 on it. They are $30,000 behind, and we need to put $20,000 worth of rehab into the deal. Well, if we back into our numbers, we find that we have $350 a month to pay our private lender for that 50 grand. We're going to get a second lien note from a private lender for the money that we need to catch the loan up and put rehab into it, and we're going to back into our deal the same way that we just did right here, where we look at what's our rent rate, and then we back out the PI, we back out the TI. That gives us, you know, a kind of a gross play. We back out our cash flow. That's the money that we have to pay our private lender. Now, the key here is that, excuse me. Oh, interesting. I was just reading another thing there. The key here is that we need to make sure that, like how I just like shut down for a second. I'm having to think. It's a long day. We have to think about the capital that we're putting at risk here. Okay. So one thing, when you're getting private money to do this, they are going to be in a second lien position. They're going to be in a subordinate lien position. Okay. Meaning that if that first lien were to foreclose, the bank loan to Wells Fargo or whoever, if that were to foreclose, their lien would be completely wiped out. And they need to be aware of that first and foremost going into it as your lender. You need to make them fully aware of what that means to them. But I'm also going to tell you, if you take a second lien loan from somebody, get them paid back. Even if the first lien forecloses, even if you're not legally required to do that, pay them back. Do everything in your power to pay them back because they trusted you, right? They trusted you and they lent to you and they invested in you. And so you need to reward them by making sure that they get their money back. No ifs, ands, or buts. Don't file bankruptcy. Don't take a, you know, kind of crappy way out of it. Pay your money back. To protect this capital, there's a couple of things that I want you to look at. And my 2 rules of thumb is I want you to have at least one of these if possible. But what we want is we want first a 2 times cash rule, meaning I want you to double whatever cash you have to put into this deal and have that much in equity. Okay? So in this case, that wouldn't fit that mold. The other one, because we're putting 50 grand in, we would want $100,000 worth of equity, and that's unrealistic for a $100,000 house. So a lot of times that is unrealistic. If you can't do that, the thing that I want you to have is I want you to be in at around 82% on the deal. Total basis. Meaning that the max I would like for you to come out of pocket for a deal like this would be $32,000. Because first of all, they owe, isn't there a way for me to, yeah. They owe $50,000. So if we wanted to be in at a max of 82%, we only have $32,000 to play with there. Whether or not you are, oh, look at Jaime. Man, Jaime, you're such a good resource for people. I appreciate you chiming in on that. There's some national places. I just approved that, so it should come through. There's some national links for you, Matt, looking for nationwide note servicers. And we need, now whether or not you are going to count a second lien loan towards that cash out rule is up to you. I typically try to, right? I don't want to be in, if I have a lot of cash on the line, I don't want to be in at like over 82% because our goal is to always have multiple exits out. We should always have the ability to go in our first option exit, but we should also have the ability to, oh crap, this isn't working, I gotta liquidate and sell it for cheap, right? So if you're in at over 82 cents, you don't really have that second option. You don't really have that option to liquidate and get rid of everything and make all your money back. So we want to protect that cash. We want to make sure that everybody gets paid back in a worst case scenario. So it's the same exact structure that we just ran, saying that we were going to, Doug is saying, sorry, I missed the Q&A. We're still going. Same exact scenario as we're paying equity. That's just what we can pay outside of the money that's already owed. So here is, and we got a lot of people watching. This is fun. This is fun. I think this is actually the most people I've had watching so far. So I'm glad to have you guys here. I've learned my T's well. I got you guys tuning in. I think that I've answered everybody's questions here. So go ahead while I'm explaining the rest of, oh wait, no, Rob sent a question through email, but my keyboard is being crazy. And because my keyboard is being crazy, I'm not going to type for you, Carol, but it's AUERBACK, or I'm sorry, CH, hour back. Matt says that makes up for your dirty memes on Facebook. Jaime's meme game is strong. Okay, so I'm going to try and read this email from here. This is why I try to copy these things off. Okay, he says this might be a repeat question. If so, he'll go back. I'll be late for the CCF, so please answer near the end. Hey, we're at the end. I have a series LLC set up by Brian Dunklin. The top level of my series never holds any assets. All sub-series do that. Because the top series has no assets, it has no income. However, there are a lot of expenses that need to occur before... Isn't this... Didn't you send... Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that was... I was like, I answered this forever ago. This was an email from October. Oh. Wait, so you... Rob, you re-forwarded me the question from October and asked if it was a repeat, but that was sent to me in... Yeah, so we addressed this in October, but I'll address it now anyway. Because the top LLC, you know, basically how do you split up your expenses? And my answer then is my same answer now, which is consult your attorney. I'm not gonna get that deep into it because A, I don't use the series LLC in that way. And B, I just don't want to give false, like that gets into some financial planning, legal stuff that I fear giving the wrong advice for. So consult your CPA and consult your attorney on that one. Really, probably the CPA is going to be your best bet. Okay, so what's the thing that I'm working on? What's the cool thing that I was wanting to talk to you guys about? I'm in the planning process of this, and I needed you guys to tell me your reaction to it for me to know kind of what route we're going to go down. But kind of along the line, so let me get back up, and I'm gonna read Zaya's wonderful, which by the way, Zaya, that's a cool stinking name. Are you tuned in, Zaya? Chat if you are. That's a cool name. I like that, Z-A-Y-A. Upon purchasing seller financing essentials, will you be or anyone be there to work with and answer questions via email or phone to help with the transaction? That is something we do if we are in the deal, right? But again, that is a personal mentor level. Now, the cool thing, the thing that I'm working on, is I'm problem solving. I'm trying to figure things out. Here's the deal. I'm freaking busy, and so is everybody on my staff. We are loaded with just stuff to do, and we've got way more coming. And I need help, frankly. And so here's what I'm trying to, here's what I'm going to offer. Right? And I want to see what y'all's reaction is to it because I want to know if this is something that you guys think is cool and that you want to be involved with, in which case I will spend more time, brainstorming it and figuring out a way to make it work, or how y'all feel about it. But here's the thing. I need, and Matt's question, is there a minimum number of people required for group mentoring? This might help. There is kind of a minimum. I take, at least 3. I cap at 5, and that even counts if we have a like a married couple, right? That I count that as 2, even though it's only 1 paying member, or a business. If you've got a business partnership, I will count that as 1 as well, and let you guys both in for the same price. But here's what I'm getting at: I need to help build the community. Okay? And I need your help. I need somebody's help buying houses because I really don't have time. I just don't have time. Again, I'm working 60 to 80 hours a week, and I got a 1.5-year-old. I cannot give my entire life to this. And I encourage you guys to not do the same either. I know it's sexy. I know it's sexy to go on Facebook and say like, oh, I'm hustling, grinding, we're working so hard. But guess what, guys? That's not why I'm in this. I'm not in this to give my whole life to real estate. I don't want to. Just straight up, I just don't want to. Because I'm doing this to afford a lifestyle that allows me to care for my family and to go mountain biking and to go hunting and to do these kinds of things. We're going to Japan at the end of next month for a few weeks. And, you know, that's the kind of stuff I want to do. Get to the point, Grant. Here's what I think would be cool for you and me. A good two-way street. What I am proposing that I literally just kind of came up with in our planning session this morning, and I would like to hear y'all's feedback, is how do you guys feel about an exclusive group of CCF members who are there to support each other and there to support me in deal analysis and getting deals done in that way? This doesn't have to be local, this could be remote, but here's the situation that I run into constantly. I'll be very frank in saying I completely botched. I probably could have bought 4 to 5 more deals 2 weeks ago, but I had a 70-hour week and I botched it. I didn't follow up with the leads, right? Because a good deal analysis takes an hour to 3 hours to get some things going, doing the right way. So my thought process is, what if we had a group of an exclusive group of folks that have been learning, right? And that's one of the reasons, like Josh, I'm going to call you out. Josh, I'm glad to see you on here. I hope you're still here. You're one of the guys that came to my mind. These guys, those of you who are showing up every week are going to get first dibs on this opportunity. I get leads sent to me all the time through Facebook where it's just somebody that has a deal that doesn't know how to structure it, and they say, hey, I got this deal. I don't know how to structure it. Do you want to get a part of it, right? How would you feel about if I could get you plugged into that, have you do some initial deal analysis for me so I can get some of that time taken off of my plate, but this exclusive group of folks gets access to like a exclusive membership page or an exclusive Facebook members page where you guys get to work with each other on your own deals. I will chime in when I do have time to help you on your own deals, so you are getting more of that one-on-one kind of group mentoring idea from it. And we're trading by you guys helping me do initial deal analysis on these things, because what I need is I need more time in my week. And I need somebody who can ask the initial questions to fill out that whetstone, to fill out what needs to be done, kind of give an idea of what's going on so I can step in, open up my CRM, see what's going on, look it over with all of the information that we need to make a decision, and move forward with that. And again, because not everybody will get in, these will be people who really know how to do these deals. Therefore, if you are stumped on a deal, you too get to offer it up to the rest of the group and have everybody kind of analyze your deal and help you get to that next level too. So, you know, what do you think? What do you think about that? Is that something that's cool? Because to me, it feels like you're getting a group mentorship somewhat for free, for trading your time to help me analyze deals, right? That's what it feels like to me. And so awesome. So Andy's in, Matt's in, Josh is in. Yeah, I'm here. I have been for over a year. And again, that's specifically why I'm looking at that. So if y'all are cool with that, Araldo, that's awesome too. If y'all are down and you think that that's a good idea, shoot me an email at mail@CreativeCashFlow.com. This is literally something that we thought of this morning in our Kiana, it's good to see you again. Oh, I didn't realize you've been here. That's awesome. You know, shoot this to me. It's going to be something where we'll probably interview. We're probably going to be exclusive about this. We're probably going to hold an interview process where we say, you know, we want 3, 4, 5 people in this group who can work with each other. Now, where that goes from there, if we've got a ton of interest in this and we've got a lot of people that want to get this kind of thing going, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen next. Quite frankly, I don't know. We can do all kinds of cool stuff from this. So here, I'm taking my visionary mind, right? And I'm not being a douche and saying that I'm referencing Traction. For those of you who you know, follow the book Traction, I really recommend, if you don't, that you should. Traction has a visionary and an integrator role. I'm the visionary, Fabiola's the integrator. My job is to come up with ideas that make things help, or that help each other and help us, right? Rob says, I do that for friends who are about to make a bad investment. That's awesome. That's good. Sally, she thinks it's a great idea. Cool. So guys, if you're interested, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who have no problem following up with leads, okay? Who following up with a lead is a second nature for you, got no problem with it. I'm looking for people, ideally, hopefully, that have some kind of experience, right? But even if you don't have real physical experience, I want to see that if I throw some deals at you, and this is probably going to be what our interview process is, and if you're okay, Josh, you bring up a really good point. I'm gonna talk about that here in a second. So probably what we're gonna do is if you're here in DFW, we'll bring you in to our conference room. If you are not local to DFW, like Josh or Matt or one of these guys, I will teleconference you in. We'll whiteboard some deals. And I want to see your brain work. I want to see you start to try and analyze this deal. I want to see where you're going and how you can work with each other to get that going. So I want people who are ready to analyze deals, who are ready to use their brain, ready to use Google, ready to use their calculator and work to find a solution. But you got to be somebody who's got no problem with picking up the phone and answering and following up with leads on Facebook. The way that it would probably work is a lead comes into me on Facebook and I'm going to connect you guys in somewhat of a round robin fashion and just say, hey, that's great that you've got a lead. Let me get you with one of my acquisitions team members or whatever we're going to call you. And then you need to ask them those questions that go on the whetstone. And then you need to either put them up in the exclusive group so everybody can work it together or work it on your own, present your idea to us, put it into our CRM. I think Kelly says the exact thing that I was thinking. He says, sign me up. I need lots of reps. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you guys need reps. You guys need the ability to run a real live situation lead, to know exactly what's really happening in this real business as we expand. So there's a huge benefit for you in getting to do that. And then I'm not being shy about my benefit is that you're saving me time and I'm getting time out of it and trading you knowledge and trading you experience for that. I'm excited that you guys are excited. I think that's really cool. I think this could be a cool idea for all of us and help you guys grow. We are going to have some future community aspects that will not be for this kind of pro level exclusive group, that will be more just like all of the members of Creative Cashflow. But if you want in this pro level exclusive, actually working with my operation, because here's the other thing is you'll be working with my employees as well. Like you will have responses from Jessica and from Fabiola and that kind of stuff, because we are trying to protect my hours as much as we can, because there's only so much of me. So I think this will be really cool for y'all to see how an operation really works that's really doing this stuff. I'm excited about that. Josh says, pass the test and start a JV in Tennessee. You know what's up. Yeah, and you know, frankly, Josh, that's one of the things that I brought up this morning is I told Fabiola this, and I like to be really transparent with you guys. And if you've watched my negotiations modules, or the quick tips, the modules coming out soon, you know that a big part of my negotiating is just being super straight up about where we're going with things, right? So that people understand I'm being honest with them. Here's the thing. I think I'm going to add you guys great value by giving you reps with real deals, with you really to watch, and then you get to see me come in or my operation come in and say, you know what, I actually don't like this because of this. Huge lesson right there, right? That can save you on a deal going in the future. So you're going to get that. But then I would like for you to use that community of however many people we have in there, again, it's going to be small, and put your own deals up there to help yourself. And if you have a deal, like Josh, if you're like, dude, I've got this great deal and we can run it and I just need the capital to do it, well, guess who's going to be the first people with me to JV, right? Those are going to be the people that I'm going to be willing to pour my resources and capital into because, hey, look, I know that you guys know how to run a lead. If you tell me this is a good deal, it's not going to take me very much time to verify that that's a good deal. I do have resources. I do have the ability to close these things up, and that becomes a lead source for me as well, right? So it's multiple levels. I get lots of benefits. You get lots of benefits. I think that's the kind of best win-win that there is. I love seeing the excitement here and the feedback. So again, email us at mail@CreativeCashFlow.com. We're going to start taking names now. Tonight is the first night I've mentioned it because it was the first day that I've thought of it. But there will be an interview process. And depending on how many people are interested will depend on how many people, A, get in to work with us directly on our deals. But B, maybe we start a mastermind. Maybe we start a mastermind for you guys. Maybe there's another paid level. Again, I'm a entrepreneur. Maybe this is a profit center for me that can really help you guys out. Maybe we have like a low level cost of getting in, right? To prove. And right now I'm like literally coming up with this right now. So if it's a terrible idea, forgive me. But maybe there's a low level cost to get in for other people to know that the only people that are in that group, maybe it's not the one that I'm specifically using for my deals, but we will still be a part of this group. People that are paying to get into this group know that the only people that are in that group are serious about being in that group and having some community there. So we'll work some things out. But for sure, I'm looking to get some exclusive guys that are and girls that are ready to analyze deals, who have the brains to do it, have the time to do it, and are willing to do it. And we will trade that knowledge for ability for you guys. So thank you for being excited. That excites me. Okay, cool. So I think that I have hammered all of the questions at this point in time. This has been an excellent night, guys. We've got a bunch of people watching. Again, I think we've broken a record tonight for our live views, which is cool. And we've gotten a lot of communication on the chat. What I would like to know from you guys is, how can I improve? What can I do better for you? And please, I mean that, please chat it for me right now. If you have something that you feel needs improvement, like, Grant, get to your freaking email questions first, or whatever it is that you need that you think I can improve on, I genuinely want to know that. I've already told my wife that I won't be coming home on Mondays anymore, because I think that your quality is better if I do this from the studio up here. Again, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, whatever. I'm not trying to guilt. I'm not trying to paint myself in some great picture, but I'm sacrificing for you guys by, like, I will not see my son on Mondays because he goes to bed before I get off, right? And so but I want to be here. I want to offer you guys that. I'm not doing this as a guilt trip. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the full scope of what I'm saying when I'm like, I'm here for y'all. This is why I'm doing this. And I think that your quality is better if I'm up here. And therefore, that's what I'm going to do for you guys. If there is another thing that I can do to make this better for you, please give me those ideas. Please let me know. And even better, if it's something that's going to take some work, like, here's something. Yeah, Josh says, hour and a half, killing it time. Thank you. Matt, Grant's idea train is going choo-choo. Here we go. I need a Facebook community built. I need moderators. I need a Facebook community built for you guys. That is something that y'all have asked me for, that I would love to give to you. But I'll, you know, and you know what? Well, I'm not even going to go that far. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm going to show you guys. This is what a very typical week looks like. So what's today's date? I'm going to look back. Today's the 28th. So that would be... Okay. Let's look at this. So 64 hours. I lied to you earlier. This is my time. I spent 14 hours traveling in 1 week. I spend 11 hours with my personal mentors, 10 hours on networking, only 5 hours that week on content creation, which is low, 3.5 hours on, you know, this is, I'm trying to do everything I can to get stuff in front of you. I just don't have the time. I wish that I could act like, you know, I had more time than everybody else does, but I just don't. So I need some help on that side of things. So if one of you is so involved in wanting like that kind of Facebook community and wants to help us get that built, I've got the name. I just kind of need the moderators and kind of need people to start contributing out there. Maybe we can work together on that. So, so yes, let's get back and, yeah, Andy, action items, guys. Sign up for Texas 100, and it's actually texas100.org. Please sign up for that. And 2, join the community. Absolutely. I think that's a really good summary here. The texas100.org, again, guys, right now it doesn't look like you're becoming a member. It just says donate, but you are becoming a member if you donate to that. You are becoming a member. We want people to donate or commit, not donate, commit $1,000 every year for the next 3 years, which is nothing for people in this business. We need it. We need 35 more people. This bill will kill wraps, and the rest of the nation will see that if we're not able to get in there and get it gone. So yeah, toggle.com, that's what I use for my time tracking. Makes things really easy. I put things into different, you know, is it creative cash flow? Is it triple equity? Is it, you know, what kind of, see, like I only spend an hour and a half on my rehabs. I got 3 rehabs. So I'm firing myself from GC. Oh, I'm not even showing you anymore. I'm firing myself from GC because I didn't spend enough time on my rehabs. And, you know, there's problems there. Business planning, got an hour and a half there. Setting up affiliate relationships. I was only on Facebook for an hour that week, which is low. Raising capital, doing administration. I only spent 7 minutes on my to-do items. That is shameful. But I'm just being honest with you guys, right? This is what my day looks like. This is what my week looks like. So we're doing, oh, and here's another thing. And I'm going to end up with this. I'm just pouring out on you guys. Here's another thing I need help with. Guys, I spent 14 hours driving in 1 week. That is time that I can't be spending on the rest of my business. Here's another item. Are you one of those guys that's in DFW that has way more time than they do have deals? Sometimes I need somebody to go take some pictures of a property. Sometimes I need somebody to go put a lockbox on a property. Would it excite you to be that person? And so when I think back, you know, it's weird for me to bring that up and ask that honestly to me. I'm like, you know, whatever. But I think back when I got started and I had more time than anything, I would have scraped the crap off of Scott's shoes when he came into the office to make sure that I was involved in that office, right? That's how I got those doors open to me with that partnership with the biggest Texas real estate attorney who's been doing this for 40 years, right? You know, I was not looking for much, and I'm not trying to like but I'm just saying like those are the attitudes of certain people, and I was one of those people. So I know somebody else like that might exist out there. Do you want to get involved in like looking at what rehabs look like and seeing where we're actually having to go to houses and what the rehab, you know, blah 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 blah. If you want to be involved in that way and you've got more time than you do have anything else at this point, I need some help with some of this driving hour stuff. Some of that's getting taken away by me getting a GC in here. It is what it is. Sonia, busy, we appreciate you. Yeah, and you know, and I'm not, you know, again, and I feel bad. I'm playing a mom that hasn't been called in the last 2 weeks by like coming out with these guilt trips. I'm not trying to come out with guilt trips. I'm just trying to let you guys know the reality of what's going on here with me in this operation and how we can work together to grow as a community. Kiana, more deal structures. I thought about that, okay? So when you say deal structures, do you mean deal analysis? Do you mean like running with people's deal analysis? I think what I'm gonna do is I'd like to do maybe once a month where I actually run a full deal analysis for a student. If not, maybe two. Like if the first deal analysis is really quick, maybe we'll go into the second one. But again, a real deal analysis takes an hour to 3 hours. And that's why I refused to do them to this point, because otherwise I'm just like, I'm just like any other guru who acts like everything is easy and that you can come up with answers just like that and that it's not gonna matter and, oh yeah, do this, and I'm gonna give you terrible advice and nobody's gonna ever know because you're gonna go off and make your money or lose your money and not come back and complain. And that's what the other gurus rely on. That's not me, right? If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna look at it for real. And if we're gonna do deal analysis, I can't do that every time, but this could be something that we could do on a monthly basis, have like one night where I do some deal analysis. Is that what you mean? Would that be cool for you guys? Would you like that? And then Andres, yeah, awesome, man. If you can help with that stuff, dude, that would be awesome. And actually, I brought you up in this morning's meeting too. I was like, he's licensed. Things would go, you know, well from that standpoint. If we needed to do any kind of, you know, actual like licensed requirements, right? And maybe even getting like, and actually, Andres, if you want, I can hook you up with another guy around town that needs somebody to go like do lock boxes and that kind of stuff. But again, this is how you get involved. The reason I bring him up is because he does a lot of MLS stuff, so he needs a Supra to get that stuff off. But I'd love to work with that, man. Kiana, yes, sub 2, owner carry, seller finance, how to fill out the contract. Cool. Yeah, we can work on that. We can definitely work on that. So please, you know, send me ideas. Actually, at this point in time, probably going to say not on the chat. Don't send it on the chat anymore because I'm about to log off. This has been a good conversation, though. I appreciate you guys. I really do. I really enjoy that we're able to kind of peel back the veil here, be real honest with each other about what's going on in the world, and try to find ways to help each other out. And you guys are finding a way to help me out every day, and I'm trying to find a way to help you guys out every day. So thank you for being here. I'm going to give us this. Oh, I don't even have my stream up. I can't tell how far the delay is. I just did my... Oh, hey, look, the quality is much better today. Cool. So last week I realized that I wasn't quite streaming in 720, so it was a little bit worse quality. I'm looking at the stream here. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Okay, so there's my wave. That is my wave off for the last of the day. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. This has been a blast. Send questions at CreativeCashFlow.com. Let other people know about CreativeCashFlow.com. We got a cool thing going here. We're learning a lot of really cool stuff, and we're doing way more advanced stuff than most people. The market shift is coming. We are going to be the ones that are prepared for it. Let's help our friends and family do the same. Again, email us, mail@CreativeCashFlow.com if you're interested in getting into that exclusive group that I mentioned before. And we'll just kind of, me and Fabiola will kick around some ideas for this next few days and next week or so and get back to you guys on what we're going to do with that. But thank you for being here. We'll see you next week.